What's up, squad? It's your man Unspoken back once more with another series retrospective of Young Justice Season 2, or as officially known as Invasion. First, I want to thank everyone for checking out my retrospective of Season 1. It's been awesome rewatching the show, especially given the idea that I didn't remember a ton about it going back in. My life was hectic around this time that it came out, so I only saw episodes here and there. Season 1 was well received, being noted for its intricate storytelling, spy aspects, and action, and brought new heroes to the forefront, which resonated well with children. Last we saw our heroes, they managed to rescue the Justice League from the grip of Vandal Savage and his organization known as the Light. However, some deeds couldn't be fixed, and a ton of questions were left open. The two main being the missing of the original and real Roy Harper, aka Speedy, as he'd been replaced by Red Arrow, a clone and mole, courtesy of the Light. Another of those issues was the missing League members, the core 6 that Savage had sent into space for 16 hours, and none of them remember their actions or where they went. Season 2 opened with a giant question mark. Episode 1, Happy New Year, sees the team confronting Clayface in the sewers of Gotham City. It seems that we get familiar faces such as Superboy and Miss Martian. However, we do get a couple new entries. This includes Karen Beecher, Bumblebee, Jaime Reyes, the Blue Beetle, Garfield Logan as Beast Boy, and Robin, although this is a different Robin as Tim Drake has now taken the mantle. We'll dive into each. Bumblebee, although we meet Karen in Season 1, she has joined the team shortly after becoming a protege of Ray Palmer, the Atom. Her abilities are not biological or alien, just the use of a suit that allows her to shrink and shoot beams known as stingers. Blue Beetle joined the squad shortly after an artificial intelligence known as the Scarab connected to his spine. Originally, the young man believed it was created by Ted Kord, yet there's a little more to that story. The Scarab creates protective armor, allowing flight and a variety of weapons. We see Jaime and the Scarab don't always agree. Second introduction, was Garfield Logan, who has become Beast Boy. Now, if you recall episode 21 Image, that happened in Season 1, you'll remember McGann gave Garfield some of her blood in order to save his life. This act resulted in the young man turning green and gaining an animal transformation capabilities. He can literally become any animal living or extinct. Once he joins the team, he does take on Kid Flash's responsibility of collecting souvenirs for the trophy room. And finally, we meet Robin. Meet? Yes, meet. Because this is not Dick Grayson, as he has taken on the mantle of Nightwing. This Robin is actually Tim Drake. Tim Drake is actually the third Robin, after the death of Jason Todd at the hands of the Joker. Now, Tim gained the mantle differently than the previous two. You see, Dick Grayson was trained by Bruce to help him avenge his parents to become less jaded like Bruce Wayne had. Jason, on the other hand, was founded on the streets of Gotham after lifting the tires off the Batmobile. Bruce took him in, but the young man was reckless, resulting in him going rogue, which got him killed by the Joker. Tim, actually, by his own intelligence, deduced the identities of both Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson. He believed that Batman needs a Robin, which in some ways is true. This change to the team left a ton of fans scratching their heads, and I searched for an article surrounding the idea of this. Vetty says, time jumps obviously create a mystery at the beginning of each season. We know our audience will want to know what happened between the seasons, and we can tease out the highlights over the course of the new season, which gives us good material to write around. Now, while I agree from a writing aspect, I think fans were just taken aback by the change in dynamics of the team we'd come to love. Not to mention some of the key DC story components were glossed over. This includes Dick becoming Nightwing and team leader, and also a death in the family. These would have been great stories to build around the characters. After Delta Team defeats Clayface, the team returns to the cave to a new leader, Nightwing, and another newbie, Lagoon Boy. This is one of the characters I had least knowledge with. Lagoon Boy, real name Lagan, like Calder, is an Atlantean. The two were actually classmates at the Conservatory of Sorcery. His fish-like appearance usually frightens people into thinking he's an alien. His abilities include water sorcery and inflation. His body basically grows like a pufferfish, which gives him increased strength, although he can't talk in this appearance. Lagoon Boy greets Miss Martian with a little more than a hello, as we see that sometime in the last 5 years, Connor and McGann have ended their relationship. In episode 1, the season name kicks off due to Lobo, the galactic alien bounty hunter, attacking the UN. Although Batgirl and Wonder Girl attempt to save Secretary Sang, they ultimately fail as he's exposed Secretary Sang as an alien. G. Gordon Godfrey, played brilliantly by actor Tim Curry, uses this platform to stir up the drama about alien species roaming the planet. We also learn from this that both Zatanna and Rocket have become League members. As it turns out, the creature Lobo had taken is called a Krolatian, a species that travels in packs, meaning more could be on Earth. Adam Strange, a scientist working with the League, helped the species on the planet Rand. We also learned some of the species' tech had been stolen by the Krolatians, which according to Green Lantern is something that they do. Adam's plan to go is ruined by Strange, explaining that several League members are wanted across the galaxy. This is due to the missing 16 hours from the end of Season 1. As it turns out, the 6 Leaguers attacked numerous planets. I thought it was really weird how Stewart says that it never occurred to the League that Vandal sent them into space. This event occurred 5 years ago, so half a decade and no Green Lantern members heard of this? That's off, concerning each core member protects a sector of the galaxy. Nightwing agrees to send the team to check out the Zeta platforms around the planet, also to send a squad to Rand. Nightwing truly does well in the leadership. We see that he's definitely learned much from Batman, and Calder was right when he said that he was born to lead the team. He even puts his fellow Robin, Tim, into the lead role of Gamma Squad. Robin does a great job leading the squad, calling out an impressive battle strategy. And once they find the Krolatians have abducted multiple humans, he makes the necessary choices despite the least time being a disadvantage. Episode 2, Earthlings, Superboy, Beast Boy, Miss Martian accompany Strange to Rand. We meet Sardaf and his daughter Alana, who has some feelings for Strange. Miss Martian manages to use her powers to connect their minds to assist with the communication. We do see this bothers Connor a little bit. Sardaf has the idea to perfect a Zeta shield to keep aliens from traveling to Earth. The plan goes south, but we do get more backstory from Superboy and Miss Martian's relationship ending. As well as Beast Boy, we learn Queen Bee had, as well as for Beast Boy, as we do learn that Queen Bee had made good on her threats and killed his mother. Miss Martian confirms Connor's feelings about her when she uses her abilities to break the mind of a Krolatian, and in the process found out what occurred during the 16 hours. Speaking of those missing 16 hours, in episode 3, Alienated, Miss Martian explains Savage sent them to Rimbor and attacked the planet. These actions prompted the Krolatians to come to Earth. But I'm glad Captain Atom asked John Stewart the question about the Corps not knowing about the attack. Once again, Miss Martian misuses her powers to break the mind of a Krolatian after John Johns, aka the Martian Manhunter, spent days trying to do so. So if you've watched the series thus far, I'm certain everyone has been questioning, where is Aqualad, where is Calder? Well, it would seem at some point during the 5-year time jump, he switched allegiances with the villain Black Manta. Seeing this, I was immediately taken aback. After watching season 1, Calder was the greatest member of that team. Seeing him leave the team left me dumbfounded to say the least. Soon after, the team, alongside the Justice League, combined their efforts to attack the Krolatian base. I really enjoy seeing the heroes utilize combo attacks that they name. Little feats like this give a display about the type of training the team has taken on over time. This definitely gives Season 1 Episode 1 vibes, looking at the relationship between the mentors and their proteges. With Calder's identity exposed to the team, we do get a reason for the former hero becoming a turncoat. It seems that at some point, Tallulah, aka Aquagirl, had died during a mission. The bomb that destroys the base, although alien tech, is not of Krolatian make. And it appears a new partner of the Light may also have been responsible for Lobo coming to Earth to expose the alien race's invasion. Things become more interesting as the Six Leaguers have made the decisions to return to Rimbor to face a fair trial for their actions. Side note, Hal and Guy also go to prepare proper protection for the League. I like these small interactions with the group. I also like seeing how Superman refers to Superboy as little brother. It's more appropriate than a father and son relationship, considering how Connor came to be. This series also tackles outside storylines such as the loss of Roy Harper in episode 4, Salvage. Red Arrow has continued the search for the original Speedy. However, his heroics come with skimming some reward money off the top. A group of heroes including Green Arrow, Black Canary, Nightwing, and Wally West Kid Flash. The heroes come checking on Roy, who looks rough for wear. He's lost his edge, but he still has hope that Roy is alive. I definitely understood his struggle and identity, as this makes him feel inferior or unreal in a sense. As a matter of fact, taking in the details, the team comes to understand the switch between the original and clone happened before the events of season 1. Speaking of copycats, that is what happened with the Guardian, who we met in season 1. As of now, he goes by the name Jim Harper, another clone of the original Roy Harper. Another bombshell drops, as during the 5-year time skip, Cheshire and Roy were married and even had a daughter named Leanne Gwen Harper. Cheshire brings the baby with news that she may have found a lead to help Roy come to terms and help him become a father. Considering Cheshire was the constant side antagonist of season 1, seeing her here, I like that she genuinely cares for Roy, understanding his desire to find the original Roy Harper and wants to do her best to help him recover. Episode 5, Beneath, would be another storyline woven into the overall story, as Alpha Squad that consists of Batgirl, Wonder Girl, Bumblebee, and Miss Martian would investigate strange actions taken by Queen Bee. Turns out her partnership with an unknown was created in kidnapping several runaways and bedridden strangers. Although the squad saves a few, there are others still taken, including Jaime's friend Ty, who decided to run away from his mother and her abusive boyfriend. Although we have seen it in episodes prior, it's really interesting watching the complex relationships between Jaime and the Scarab, as it is more willing to use aggressive tactics as opposed to Jaime's patience.
Vaporized Ty if he's inside. Activating target down.
No. Breaking and entering, kid? I ought to call the cops.
We are under attack. Why do you resist? Destroy the Maurice. I said no.
Episode 6, Bloodlines, introduces the audience to a new character when an unsuspected time machine crash lands into the cave. Mysterious speedster Bart Allen appears, and after the team temporarily subdues him, we realize he has much knowledge of our heroes, knowing both Tim, Gar, Dick by full name. As it turns out, Bart is not only from the future, but the grandson of Barry and Iris West Allen, as she also announces she is pregnant. As a matter of fact, this entire episode is a speedster affair, as Jay Garrick is also present as well. The team fails at stopping a new villain who Bart accidentally reveals is named Neutron. Bart, unbeknownst to the rest of the group, manages to stop Neutron with a mysterious item, not so mysterious as we see in the future. Prior to Bart's arrival, Neutron had given Bart the object to stop him in the past. Although Neutron is cured in the future, the world is still damaged. The title of the episode also goes into Red Arrow and Cheshire, and they successfully find the original Roy Harper. As far as the Back to the Future jargon in this episode, it didn't exactly bother me, but this is when I began to notice this season had a ton of storylines all fighting for the top spot. I mean, sure, most of them tie in together, but it felt like too much happening. I'll explain why as we move forward. Things take a darker turn for our heroes in episode 7, Depths. Nightwing requests Artemis to return to action, something Wally isn't happy about, but unable to create a convincing argument considering he did the same thing in a previous episode. Although I'm never a fan of heroes retiring, I did enjoy seeing the difficulty with successfully letting the life go. It really describes how dedicated the team is to what they do. The team works together to make a successful launch in the attempt of creating a peaceful resolution with aliens surrounding the Earth. But Black Manta hopes to end that possibility by sending Calder to stop that launch. Another hinted character's actions are fully fleshed out here as Connor finally confronts McGann about the misuse of her powers. breaking into people's minds in order to get necessary information. This incredibly bothers Connor, but not for dumb reasons. You see, during the 5-year time gap, when Connor discovered McGann's actions, she attempted to tamper with his mind to make him forget what she had done. Now, that is a serious breach of trust that has ruined their relationship.
Don't pretend you don't know why.
I know. Disapprove of how I use my psychic powers.
You mean how you abused them? After all we've been through, how could you think I wouldn't recognize your touch inside my mind? Didn't you know what that touch meant to me? And to have you perverted like that.
Despite their relationship ending, McGann still uses this ability, and although I don't agree, I understand the point of her argument. Sometimes the bad guys have no problem pushing things to get results, and McGann simply wanted to act on villain impulses to get results. But this will have consequences in the future. Just be patient. The team saves the launch, but Calder manages to kill Artemis. The whole team is rocked by this, even some of them mourning her in a holographic statue room of fallen heroes. This, however, is a ploy as an undercover plan implemented by Nightwing and Aqualad to overthrow the light. It's revealed Artemis is indeed alive and takes on the identity of Tigress to join Calder on the inside. Episode 8, Satisfaction, gives more of an understanding on the original Roy Harper as we learn he's been missing a total of 8 years, not just 3 as originally believed. You see, at the age of 15, Roy went to do a solo investigation of LexCorp, which led to his capture, and Lex gave him to Cadmus. They also severed his arm for the use of genetic cloning. This led to the Red Arrow clone, who Oliver Queen believed was the real Roy Harper. Lex and the Light fed Oliver clues to finding that clone. Roy is extremely pissed at Oliver, believing he should have known something was different, which in my opinion was unfair since nobody knew. Red Arrow tries to rally Oliver, who struggles with not only what happened to the clone hating him, but also Roy hating him and Artemis's death. It's interesting that we also get to see the mentors tackling the grief and the heroes' struggles as well. It's not just the team dealing with the pain and the problems. The two return to Roy's room, but he's chosen to strike out on his own and go after the man responsible for stealing the years off his life. Roy corners Lex along with the enhanced bodyguard Mercy. I gotta say, Roy is awesome in this fight, using multiple firearms, a crossbow, and multiple explosive devices. He gives Mercy a fight to remember. You can definitely see that enhanced training that he got from Green Arrow, beating Mercy and holds Luthor's life in his hands. But Lex, being his business tycoon ass, manages to convince Roy of what he truly seeks: satisfaction. He gives Roy a robotic arm to account for the lost one, but it is outfitted with weapons, making him more formidable than even Mercy. Honestly, I would question using anything Lex has to offer, but Roy takes up the offer and changes his name to Arsenal. Lex is also his usual conniving ass in this show. Of course, the man always has backdoors and contingencies to deal with problems. If it keeps him alive, he'll do it. Plenty more to come in this season. By episode 9, named Darkest for a certain reason, centers around Tigress, formerly Artemis, hoping to secure a place on Calder's team. Calder and his team break into the cave, managing to subdue many of the team members except Nightwing. Calder taunts the hero with a punch to the gut and warns him that the bomb will destroy the entire cave. Their base is actually destroyed, but Sphere manages to save Superboy and Nightwing. Wally is furious, but Nightwing claims the cave's destruction was necessary as Calder had turned over crucial intel involving some of the Light's plans and actions. But Calder's actions do yield results as he is inducted into the Light. I really like that Wally calls out the possibility Calder could be betraying the team, given Tallulah's death, as well as his father-son relationship between Calder and Manta. These are good arguments, no lie. I mean, motivations like that could change a man. This is also a certain negativity with Nightwing in terms of becoming the Batman. Now, if anyone is familiar with the way the leadership operates with the Dark Knight, it never fully allows the proteges to be quote-unquote in, right? He usually keeps secrets, lies, or manipulates the sidekicks based on what he views as the best choice, which led to the departure of Dick Grayson from the dynamic duo. I just found it interesting that Dick would go down this road. Episode 9, Before the Dawn, is the series' opportunity to introduce us this season's main antagonist, the Reach. Jaime wakes up in captivity as we meet the ambassador and the scientist and the warrior known as Black Beetle, another alien of the Reach origin utilizing a black scarab. Hearing them speak their native language, it's clear that these are the same ones responsible for creating the bomb that destroyed the cave, as well as the underwater Krolotanian base, as well as Neutron. As it turns out, the Reach is the Krolotanian competitors the show has hinted at. They seek to torture the humans with the hope of awakening their potential metagene. The blue scarab itself is also Reach in origin, and they plan to remove the scarab, even willing to kill Jaime in the process. With Lagan being kidnapped and multiple missing civilians, the team decides to send Tim and Barbara in as hostages to find the others. As Bart manages to save Blue, he tells him the story of how in the future came to be destroyed. You see, the Reach does enslave the planet, under the ruthless dictator Blue Beetle. Now, based on the footage here, one could clearly see that's not Jaime Reyes wearing the Blue Beetle armor, but I guess the characters can't tell that. At this point, our heroes come face to face with the Black Beetle for the first time, and this dude is a savage.
Listen, Black Beetle, you're totally outnumbered. Open those doors now, and we'll go easy on you.
You will go easy on me.
He easily puts the heroes in their place, but Blue manages to put up a good fight, letting the Scarab take over. McGann also comes face to face with Cowder, which is not good as she is in the dark about the team's undercover plans. She attacks Cowder psychically with no restraint or hesitation and damages his mind in the process. However, this allows her a peek into his memories about the undercover antics, and this creates a magnitude of guilt. Before the heroes can warn Earth about the alien invasion, the Reach go public themselves, which, despite hating them as villains, is a smart idea considering how the Earth views aliens at this point. This season does have certain filler episodes, although some points do influence the overall narrative of the season. In episode 11, Cornered, the team is dealing with the fallout of rescuing the experimented hostages, as well as the Reach's announcement to Earth. However, Galactic Champion Despero is told about the challenge on Earth thanks to the Justice League's manipulated actions. The alien comes to the Hall of Justice to challenge their remaining League members. I really like how as soon as the threat lands, it is only the League members that actually approach the threat. Of course, the young team is thrust into the problem since they've been forced to use the basement of the hall as a base. This episode really gives Maul a chance to shine. Now, Maul Duncan is a character we'd visited here and there during season 1. By season 2, the show doesn't really explain how, but he ends up becoming the team's controller, which is just weird because he has no affiliation with any mentors. He's simply the boyfriend of Bumblebee. The two struggle to maintain their relationship, and outside of small moments, Maul doesn't really stand out. That changes with this episode.
Listed in the Krolotanian database, Master, but their records may be incomplete.
Miss Martian, take the others and leave. This is my fight alone.
Mel, what are you doing?
Keep it ugly busy. At least I
Now, in order to give the heroes time to recover, he dons the moniker of Guardian to distract Despero. He gets really hammy here.
Master, we don't know this one's abilities.
strength of the earth and power of all mankind. I summon
This ploy actually works for a time since Mal had been trained by Black Canary. It also helps that Despero has no data on the hero Guardian, which makes the alien hesitate. The heroes manage to damage Despero's eye and are able to take him down. The Reach helps the team to break Despero's shield, but they also out the Justice League's watchtower to the United Nations, making them seem more suspicious. They also out their covert team of younger heroes. The team doesn't give up on exposing the Reach, and after the alien visitors go public with a new soft drink known as Reach, yeah, no creativity there whatsoever, Nightwing sends the undercover team to check things out. This team is composed of Robin, Impulse, Blue, and Arsenal as his first team mission, which goes horribly wrong thanks to him. This is where the team starts to really doubt the original Roy, as he recklessly exposes the team with the goal of hurting Luthor, who is in partnership with the Reach. Black Beetle is thrashing the heroes, but luckily they are saved by a newcomer, Green Beetle. Yep, there's another one.
How many colors do these guys come in anyway?
Form up. We go down fighting.
I'm betting it's none of Racial in your head.
Except this green beetle is Martian. Baraz I hope I said that right, was originally an archaeologist on Mars who discovered the scarab as the armored devices had been sent to multiple planets that all inhabited some type of life. The team is hesitant to trust the Martian, which is fair given the multiple invasions. The team brings him to Miss Martian, but the hero is hesitant to use her powers fully after what has happened to Calder. Speaking of Calder, episode 13, The Fix, Manta is angry about his son's state and decides to task Tigress with bringing in Miss Martian to undo that damage. This would be easy if Deathstroke wasn't coming along. The Terminator is actually trying to earn reprieve with the light. This is easier for him as Sportsmaster is removed after he demands Calder's death for what he believes happened to Artemis. I really did enjoy watching the villains have just as much beef as the heroes. Sometimes superhero shows don't really show that as often. McGann and Artemis enter Calder's mind. I really like how Tallulah is the security of his subconscious, which explains just how safe he felt with her by his side. The two heroes manage to save Calder, although they fade the success to Black Manta, realizing he would kill McGann regardless. One of the things that I also really loved in this episode was Connor's maturity. You see, when Lagan is pissed about McGann going missing and Calder being a traitor, Nightwing decides to let them both in on the plan. I expected Connor to freak out, but he composes himself and tells Lagan that Nightwing is their leader and that he had a reason for his secrets. Outside the room, though, he does tell Dick off as he realizes things could have gotten way worse and maybe potentially gotten everyone killed. In my opinion, this is how disputes on a team should happen, especially when it comes to berating the leader. Connor controls himself and keeps a general respect when and where it's needed. This series doesn't forget about the hostage teenager, as some time has passed after the Reach's experiments and that each of them has some type of powers. Virgil Hawkins conducts electricity, Ty Longshadow uses the astral form projection, Eduardo Dorado Jr. uses teleportation, and Hasumi uses chi manipulation like kinetic energy. A little tip which many of you may not know, that Virgil is actually in the comics as the hero Static Shock. The character even had an entire series on Kids WB back in the year 2000. We find from Eduardo Dorado Sr. that their powers may have been influenced by whatever environmental means was surrounding them at that point. Virgil was tortured by electricity, while Ed was working with his father on Zeta projects, which may have given him teleportation powers. The kids plan an escape, but their plan is ruined by another star experiment, Nathaniel, aka Neutron. The kids act like kids would, making reckless choices, but it's Virgil's contacting his parents which puts them back on Star's radar. Blue sets out to retrieve the kids, but they're hesitant to trust him. This doesn't help as Blue seems highly volatile towards his enemies, completely disregarding the lives around him. The kids do have a moment of heroism as they decide to save the employees of Star Labs and Ed saves his father. After a vicious fight, Blue seems to enjoy the spotlight a little more than usual. These changes in personality isn't random due to Green Beetle fixing quote-unquote his scarab. Instead, he gave the scarab more influence over Jaime as Green Beetle is already working with the Reach. Luther arrives to the kids and offers them a chance to work for him as he was the one who shut down the power to Star Labs, helping them to escape. By episode 15, War, the series does cut back to the Justice League as we see Icon is defending them against the charges of the Council of Rimbor. It's here we actually get a deeper understanding of the Reach's origins. You see, what the Reach is doing to Earth a millennia ago, the Reach would do to several planets before it took the entire Green Lantern Corps to stop them. You see, in order for the Reach to take a planet, they must be invited. If the planet accepts, the Green Lanterns cannot intervene or even go to that planet. This is due to a treaty between both factions. During the trial, Savage is in the audience alongside Mongol. The alien actually brings a huge planet-sized satellite known as Warworld. He arrives threatening the Reach, planning to destroy the Earth, in which he sees is a mercy killing. The League jumps to defending the Earth, while the team, the covert team, infiltrates the Warworld quietly. This threat creates problems for the Reach as they are forced to use their hidden armada to protect the planet. This does come back to bite them in the ass. The teams break off as one team faces off against Mongol, and the homie does not play around.
Learn to cope.
The other teams manage to disengage the satellite and take out Mongol. They steal the power source known as the key, and Jaime goes ham.
Gang's all here.
Arsenal panics due to his captive trauma and puts the team in danger, although he manages to escape as the others are captured. Nightwing isn't initially trusting of Blue's story in episode 16, Complications. The armored hero tries his best to convince Grayson, but you initially see he's not fooled and sets out on his own investigation. He truly is his father's son. I like that we get to see those in-depth detective skills that run in the Bat family. McGann, Artemis, and Calder are still stalling Manta, but problems get worse as Sportsmaster arrives with Cheshire to kill Aqualad. McGann manages to get control and explain the situation to all involved. Artemis and McGann manage to distract Deathstroke, allowing the Martian and the villains to escape, leaving a restored Calder with his father. The rest of the team missing and Warworld still looming over the Earth. Episode 17, The Hunt, sees the Reach is now in control of the satellite, but the Justice League, protecting the core, they cannot access it. Another small problem is Arsenal, as the hero has been on the run trying to stay alive and call for help. Luthor enlists the help of the Star Labs kids, offering them Fatherbox, New Genesis technology, to get past Warworld's defenses. Nightwing and Miss Martian are doing the same. I enjoy the moment seeing them talk about their failures and fixing them.
Fixed his scarab.
That's my fault. You asked me to scan Green's mind, and I vouched for him without delving deep. I was so afraid to use my powers after what I did to Aqualad. I allowed Green Beetle and his scarab to feed me exactly what the Reach wanted us to believe. So Blue trusted Green and was turned by him, and somehow abducted the team. All on me.
The team works with Arsenal as the reckless hero throws a Hail Mary, freeing Mongol to stand up to Black Beetle. The team is freed, and Nightwing and Miss M assist with the remaining Reach henchmen. The team is set to leave as Nightwing immediately discharges Arsenal off the team.
Guard against his own personal demons. It's unacceptable. So until you prove yourself a team player, you have no place on this team.
To his credit, Nightwing is right, as Arsenal has been reckless with his decisions and put the entire team in danger twice. That's not a person you want on your team. Nightwing extends a stay to the young kids, but they refuse after the way Arsenal is treated. They even offer him a chance to join them instead. Arsenal finds Luthor is working with the kids, and realizing Luthor is just as dirty, they choose to disconnect from him as well. That's a wise choice. A part of me was expecting the kids to give the man a pass, but I'm glad they were smart enough to decide otherwise. In episode 18, Intervention, Batgirl, Rocket, Impulse, and Zatanna combine their efforts to stop Blue. The group returns to the ruins from the cave, and Zatanna, using an ancient ritual, manages to remove the Reach's influence from both the Green and Blue Scarab. This episode does a good job of giving us just more understanding of the Scarab and how it came to be. You see, decades ago, an archaeologist named Dan Garrett found the Scarab actually becoming the first Blue Beetle. When he died, however, he turned the Scarab over to his protege, Ted Kord. However, Kord wasn't cool with adding an alien technology to his spine. He continued being the Blue Beetle tradition with just creating his own suit and using some technology and science. The Scarab was still on the Light's radar as they attempted to steal it, and Ted died protecting it, which is how Jaime came to have it. In episode 19, The Summit brings the season's events to a head as it follows the Reach and the Light trying to salvage something from recent events. This doesn't go well as both sides are completely distrusting of one another. Ra's al Ghul spots and removes the glamour charm from Tigress, revealing her identity as Artemis. Deathstroke, acting on the Light's behalf, kills both Artemis and Calder. Calder, however, had managed detailed records of both the Light and Reach. You see, the Reach had thought the Light was working for them, but had in fact been advancing its own agenda. He revealed how the Light had merely lured the Reach to Earth, then sabotaged their plans as the means to become rulers of the galaxy. Both the Ambassador and Savage are pissed, but Savage lets it slip that he still has the key to Warworld. Calder was waiting on that, and both he and Artemis reveal they are not dead. Instead, Deathstroke turns out to be McGann in disguise.
Bleeding on the ground. Still you refer to us as children. No wonder our successes mount. You can
I like this scene because Calder's right. The problem with the Light is that they constantly believe the young heroes are incapable, although by now he should know better than to doubt them. The heroes put up a good fight with the hand landed from Wally. Ra's al Ghul is critically injured, the ambassador is trapped by Blue, and Black Beetle takes the scientist and escapes as Savage takes control of Warworld. Okay, to me the final episode Endgame seems a bit unnecessarily tacked on, if you know what I mean. There are definitely some decent moments, such as the Justice League being deemed innocent of the charges. It just felt weird one minute they're guilty, but the team manages to bring the evidence of the Light and the Reach's involvement. The evidence part isn't weird, it's how the team have to convince the judges with simply bribery of justice. Normal things that should be understood, but it's an alien race. Difference is normal here. The League is exonerated, but Savage brings Warworld to Rimbor. During this time, the remaining heroes take the fight to Black and the scientist. Black destroys Green Beetle's Scarab, but Blue is able to do the same to Black. It's also seeing the Scarab and Jaime on the same page, acting as one. Even with the Reach out, Black has set out devices all over the world designed to mess with the Earth's magnetic field. This triggers hurricanes, earthquakes, and tidal waves destroying the planet. We also get an awesome scene of Black Lightning working with Virgil, even willing to take on Virgil, becoming his mentor. Unfortunately, a single device in the Arctic has gone critical, forcing Flash, Impulse, and Wally to run around it to stop it. Feels like classic CW Run Barry Run, huh? Wally, however, is too slow, and he becomes an attractive point for that energy. This leads to him dying and Artemis heartbroken. Mourning his loss, but keeping his memory alive, Bart becomes the new Kid Flash to honor Wally, and Artemis decides to remain Tigress. Virgil takes on the name Static and decides to stay on the team. The loss of Wally leaves Grayson broken as he decides to take a leave of absence. This makes sense as both he, Calder, and Wally founded the team, and in some fashion, Dick may feel like it's his fault so many wrong things happen. Batman gives the team props and also allows them to use the Watchtower as a base, but things may get darker as Savage has formed a new partnership with Darkseid. You see what I did there? Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, there's definitely some choked up moments in this episode, but it just felt like an additional episode. Almost like Summit and Endgame were one coherent story, but they just had to break it down to meet a quota of episode. But that was the summary right there of Season 2 Invasion. Fan and critic reception was pretty fair for Season 2. The positives definitely echoed from Season 1, appreciating the animation and mature themes. The time skip did create confusion, but overall made the storyline a little bit more engaging, probably as fans wanted to understand why characters may have had certain arcs. Negatives were pretty fair as well, as some believe the show gave more focus on storyline and less on character growth. The character moments were there, but not as strong as one would expect. Another negative was possibly too many new characters. The heroes were already the center focus. It seemed removing the League was a good call, but adding the Star Labs kids was just a bit much. Some also complained about Aqualad's story, feeling like his actions weren't integrated well. Perhaps it just was the absence of conviction for him going full bad guy. Things would get bad for the series since after Season 2, the show would be cancelled. And the main reason? Toy sales. Give me a break. But don't worry, that wouldn't last too long. Young Justice Invasion was an enjoyable watch. I definitely enjoyed getting back into it and bringing you guys another fun retrospective. I know this one was a bit long, but I was having fun with it. I hope you did as well. Alright guys, I'm Unspoken, and I will see you in the next one. Later.